How Egypt's forgotten female pharaoh drove prosperity to her people and land. Hatshepsut, an excellent leader, a visionary policymaker who brought to her people extensive wealth and trade with faraway and unknown lands. Constructing monuments meant to outlast her time and age, this female pharaoh was all but forgotten to the ruins of time. Known by many as the first great woman of history, let's talk about Hatshepsut. Hello and welcome back to another episode of HerStory, Unforgettable Women. For today's video, we're turning back the spools of time to an age vastly different from our own, brimming with both prosperity and violence, ancient Egypt. Early life and descent into power. 18th dynasty ancient Egypt was as patriarchal as ancient societies go. The women could own property and have equal legal rights in court. All positions of power were typically held by men. With only a handful of women ever having some sort of position in the court, in those days, power and women were two words that did not go together. Hatshepsut, however, was not like the women of her age. Born amidst such patriarchal circumstances to parents Pharaoh Thutmose I and his Great Royal Wife Ahmose, Hatshepsut would come to seize power and bring with her actions the dawn of a new age. In line with the customs of the time, she was married at 14 or 15 years of age to her half-brother, Thutmose II. Now, before you roll your eyes in disgust, remember that our modern beliefs did not apply back then. It was frequent among ancient Egyptian royals to marry into the family, for they believed that this would help preserve their social lineage and purity. Upon the death of her husband, Hatshepsut's stepson, Thutmose III, became pharaoh. However, considering the almost infantile age of the newly appointed pharaoh, Hatshepsut was appointed co-regent. Finding the title restricting, she soon took on the role of pharaoh, as so many men had done before her. But Hatshepsut was no ordinary pharaoh, ruling as pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt from 1479 BCE to 1458 BCE. Her name would go down in the pages of history as the first female pharaoh. At the time, what she accomplished was impossible. And yet, by holding the title, she opened doors for female leadership within ancient Egypt. Naturally, power would never fall automatically into the hands of a woman. The very fact that Hatshepsut held the title shines a light on the political cunning that she possessed. At the beginning of her reign, she maneuvered her political power in such a way that she held the full ceremonial powers that came with the position, while never denying the kingship of her stepson, Thutmose III, either. Thutmose III was the son of Hatshepsut's husband-brother and a concubine. Most modern tales about pharaohs and the power that they wielded are overflowing with mentions of bloodshed and unholy amounts of violence. Interestingly, however, Hatshepsut's tale is not written in blood. Rather, she floated easily to the throne without a single drop of blood ever being spilt. To further solidify her claim to the throne, once her husband and brother, Thutmose II, had died, Hatshepsut married her stepson, Thutmose III, to her daughter, and temporarily took control. Her reason for this political decision was quite simple. How could a child be fit to rule ancient Egypt? In a stroke of sheer brilliance, Hatshepsut shushed any threat of violence breaking out before it ever had the chance to emerge, while still holding tightly onto power's hand. From early on her career, then, she displayed an understanding of politics that was far beyond her years, and bore testament to the empire-building feats that she was going to perform in the future. But of course, there was one power that continued to pester the Egyptians. Hatshepsut was a woman, and although there had been boy pharaohs before, no woman had ever been allowed to rule. Consolidation of power. The simple fact was that the Egyptian elite had a hard time digesting a woman as their head. Hatshepsut understood this and engaged in a campaign of hyperbole and propaganda that would make any modern-day politician turn green with envy. As a pharaoh already existed, Hatshepsut had a fragile claim to the position. Being the political genius she was, she had the priests perpetrate an elaborate story of her birth. According to this manufactured tale, Hatshepsut had divine ancestry, thus allowing her to claim her rule as divinely ordained. Another tactic that Hatshepsut had under her sleeves was using inscriptions to further solidify the legitimacy of her rule. She used them not only to proclaim her rule as being the wish of the god Amun, but also to assert that she was her father's preferred heir. Knowing that her gender would always be used as a weapon to attack her, Hatshepsut embraced androgyny and ambiguity in all her official representations. She wore all the traditional symbols of pharaonic power, such as the false beard, and had herself portrayed in statues in traditionally masculine forms, such as the lion-formed sphinx. Building and benevolence. Although Hatshepsut had succeeded in capturing the throne for herself, she understood what mattered was maintaining that power. Throughout history, anyone can have a fleeting moment of great power, but what really counts at the end is earning the trust and respect of the people in the empire. As pharaoh, Hatshepsut could only truly hold on to her power if she managed to create a positive image for herself among her subjects. Not only would this positive image allow her success as a ruler, but it would also overcome the barrier that her gender presented. But Hatshepsut would go beyond gender and prove herself as a responsible and benevolent leader, all within her own right. Hatshepsut was no ordinary woman, but in order to be truly extraordinary, she needed the power of stories on her side. This wasn't anything new either. Early on, the ancient Egyptian rulers realized greatly the significance of narratives, and oftentimes their success as rulers depended on how well crafted the narrative about them was. Bearing this in mind, the story of Hatshepsut's divine ancestry legitimized her claim to the throne and helped capture her subjects' trust. Furthermore, Hatshepsut devoted most of her time in an ambitious building campaign. She commissioned grand architectural projects and monuments, such as the impressive Deir el-Bahari temple complex at Luxor, which showcased her power and dedication to the gods. She also built prestigious buildings on the banks of the Niles, such as the Temple of Hatshepsut in the City of the Dead and a 10-story obelisk. These constructions had more than one purpose. Firstly, they epitomized the power that Hatshepsut held and the respect that she held for the high stature of religion in Egyptian society. Secondly, they highlighted her dedication to the people of Egypt and served as lasting testaments to her wisdom and just rule. Hatshepsut also understood that her positive image could not be built simply around empty narratives. The seeds of the ideology that she was trying to plant had to be backed by real-world change. As such, economic prosperity was a central focus during Hatshepsut's reign. She actively promoted trade and pushed her weight behind trade expeditions to distant lands, particularly the land of Punt, possibly modern-day Somalia. These trade missions brought back exotic goods and valuable resources, contributing to the nation's wealth and fostering a sense of prosperity among her subjects. Security was another one of her major concerns, and during her reign, Egypt was cocooned in safety and peace. Hatshepsut's efforts to keep Egypt's borders safe from external threats helped earn her the admiration of her people, who valued peace and continuity in their daily lives. Death of Hatshepsut and the destruction of her legacy. Hatshepsut died in the 22nd year of her power. The ancient Egyptians were preoccupied with death, and Hatshepsut had first started building a tomb when she was the Great Royal Wife of Thutmose II. However, the tomb was not befitting the pomp of one of the most powerful pharaohs ever, and thus she had had the tomb of her father given an extension and royal refurbishment, enabling it to be the final resting place of both Hatshepsut and her father. The remains of the empress seemed to have been disturbed and moved to a new tomb in the Valley of the Kings. This may have been an attempt by Hatshepsut's successor's son, Amenhotep II, to secure his own weak claim to the throne. During the end of her successor Thutmose III's reign, there seems to have been a concerted effort to exclude Hatshepsut from historical and pharaonic records. Many of her monuments and inscriptions were either defaced or destroyed. While there appears to be no clear reason for this destruction, most historians believe the deed was done in lieu of political gain rather than any personal animosity held by Thutmose III towards his stepmother. Either way, the destruction contributed to her legacy being forgotten to the great hollows of history until her tomb was rediscovered by the legendary Egyptologist Howard Carter in 1903. Carter's discovery, along with the discovery of her mummy in 2007, brought to light the life of this great woman. And we hope this video helps in keeping the light of her life burning. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more exciting HerStory content just like this.